Today, we're diving into something really special. It's a classical Korean poem called I, written almost 1,000 years ago by a scholar named Yi In-ro. And get this, it's a whole world of history and philosophy, all packed into just 16 characters. So, take a look at this. At first glance, it's just beautiful calligraphy, right? These 16 intricate symbols are what we call hanja in Korean. It absolutely looks like a piece of art, but it's also a kind of puzzle. It's a complete poem, just waiting for us to decode it. So, how in the world do we get from these mysterious-looking symbols to the profound message that's hidden inside? Well, that's what we're here for. We're going to break it down together, line by line, character by character, and piece together the incredible story Yi In-ro wanted to tell. The poem kicks off by immediately throwing us into a kind of debate. It's a comparison between two legendary figures from Chinese history. Think of it as a clash between two totally different ways of living, and the poet is asking us, right from the start, to think about them both. So, our first line introduces our first historical figure. He represents a life of worldly ambition, of action, of trying to change the world. To really get what the poet is saying, we need to decode this line, one character at a time, using their specific Korean readings and meanings. Okay, let's look at what we've got. First up is 부, which we read in Korean as 부. It means not. Then we have an, read as an, meaning at ease. Put them together, and you get bulan, which is a word still used for anxiety in modern Korean. Pretty cool, huh? Next is the name Yugon, which in Korean is read yugon. And finally, we have z, ja, for the color purple. So the line literally reads, the purple of Yugon is not at ease. Now, purple here is this amazing metaphor for his ambitious gaze, a look that's always striving, always restless. So who was this Yugon guy? Well, he was the ultimate man of action. A general, a statesman, a poet, who threw his entire life into trying to save his nation during a time of chaos. He was driven by this powerful ambition, this belief that struggle makes you stronger. His life was one of constant, purposeful striving. And now for line 2, which gives us the complete opposite of Yugan's intense ambition. This is where the poem really sets up its central conflict. It's the other side of the coin. Let's break this one down too. The first character, na, is ha, which means why. The second, su, is su, meaning to need. Together, hasu basically asks, why is there a need for this? Then comes the name wanjek, read in Korean as wanjek. And the last character is chung, meaning blue. So the line translates to something like, why would one even need the blue eye of wanjek? And just like with purple, that blue is not just a color, it's a hugely important metaphor. And this just lays it out perfectly, doesn't it? We have these two opposing paths. On one side, there's Yugon, the statesman, the man of action, totally engaged with the world. And on the other, you have Wanjek, the sage, the poet, who chose to withdraw from the world to find inner peace. The poet is setting up a choice for us, action or detachment, engagement or withdrawal. Okay, so what's this whole deal with a blue eye? This is not just a random detail. It's a direct reference to one of the most famous stories about Wanjek, and it's a tale that tells you everything you need to know about his philosophy. So the story goes that Wanjek had a unique way of judging people. If some conventional, stuffy official who was just seeking power and status came to visit, he would literally turn his gaze away, showing them only the whites of his eyes. This was the Baeg-an, or the white eye of disdain. But when a true friend, a fellow free spirit and sage came to his door, he would look at them directly, warmly, with his Cheong-an, the blue eye of welcome. This story was so well known that it actually created an idiom, Cheong-an Baeg-an, that's still understood today. It's all about this idea of judging the world, showing favor to some and contempt for others, and it's this very act of judgment, this kind of detached superiority, that our poet is now starting to question. Okay. So we've seen the two extremes, the man of action and the man of detachment. Now, in the second half of the poet pulls off this incredible shift. He turns away from these big historical examples and brings the focus completely inward to his own personal, quiet experience. This third line sets a totally new scene. It's quiet, it's dim, it's deeply meditative. We've left the world of ancient heroes and political drama, and we've stepped right into the poet's own mind. Let's see what we have here. The first character, Myung, is Myung, and it means dark or dim. Then yun, sort of turns it into an adverb, so it means dimly. Then we have j, which means to exist in. And finally ilsil, which is simply one room. So you put it all together, 명연 제일실. And it translates so beautifully too. Dimly, I exist in a single room. And now we've arrived at the final line. This is the poem's punchline. It's the core philosophical statement that ties everything together and resolves the whole debate. Here we go. The first two characters, 원시, are read 만사. It literally means 10,000 matters, which was the classical way of saying everything. Then we have 견, which means to see. And the last two characters are the absolute key, 우형, read 무형, meaning without form or shapeless. The whole line reads, 만사 견무형. I see everything without its form. Seen without form, what on earth does that actually mean? Well, this isn't just some vague poetic idea. It's a direct reference to a state of enlightenment, a concept that's deeply rooted in Buddhist philosophy. Let's dig into that for a second. The first big idea is something called jaehengmusang. It's the teaching that all things are impermanent. Everything that exists, every ambition, every person, every object, is in a constant state of flux. Nothing stays the same. So to see without form means to see past the temporary shape of things and understand their true, ever-changing nature. The second idea goes even deeper. It's called jilbebumua. This means that nothing has a fixed, permanent, independent self or essence. Seeing without form is the ultimate realization of this idea. It's understanding that all the distinctions we make between success and failure, good and bad, you and me, are ultimately illusions. So let's put it all together now. After everything we've unpacked, what is Yi In-ro ultimately saying with these 16 powerful characters? He's actually rejecting both of the paths he presented at the beginning. The restless ambition of Yu Gan, it's unsettling. But the judgmental detachment of Ruan Ji, that's also unnecessary. Instead, the poet finds a third way. In the quiet solitude of his own room, through this deep, meditative state, he achieves a higher kind of wisdom. It's a state where he can see the true nature of reality, beyond the fleeting forms of worldly ambition and social judgment. And that right there is the incredible power hidden inside these ancient characters. We started with what looked like a beautiful but confusing puzzle, and we ended with this profound insight into the nature of enlightenment. It really makes you wonder, what other timeless truths like this are just waiting to be unlocked in other ancient poems?